start, we will learn about the forms of quadratic equations. So, we will take up all the forms one by one. The first form of quadratic equation is the basic one. It's a simple form, which is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. So, this is the basic form of quadratic equation. Let's take an example and solve a quadratic equation in this form. So, let's take an example, x square plus 5x plus, so ax square plus bx plus c. Here, if it's in this form, how to solve it we'll see. We'll take a next form as well and we will see how to solve each one of them. So the first one is x square plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. We will see how to solve this equation. So we are going to take examples of each one. So there are two methods for solving this equation. We can solve it by factorization method or we can solve it by completing square method. So x square plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. So what we need to do? So we can think here 1 is there. So 1 times 6, which is 6, and we have to write the factors of 6, which is 2 times 3, 6 times 1, minus 2 times minus 3, minus 6 times minus 1. And we have to figure out which pair in these four suits the best. So if we add these numbers, we have to get the middle number, which is 5. So let's go one by one. 3 plus 2 is 5. So this is the right pair. 6 plus 1 is 7. No, this is not, and this is not, and this is not. So 2 and 3, this is the correct pair. So x square plus, you need to substitute. So it can be written as 2x plus 3x plus 6 is equal to 0. 2x plus 3x is 5x. So it's the same thing. Next, we need to factorize. How? We have to take some common factors. So in x square plus 2x, the common factor is x. So x times x is x plus x times 2 is 2x. So we need to break it down into two parts. So this is 1 and this is 1. So what did I do? I just factorized it. I just found the factors of this equation, x square plus 2x. You need to break it into two parts. So the next part is 3x plus 6. Here also the same thing. So 3, so plus 3. This sign is important because we get confused when we write it down. So 3x plus 3 times 2 is 6 is equal to 0. So one very important thing is, while you're doing this and this has to be same. So if you observe this x plus 2 and x plus 2, they both are same. And if you didn't get the same thing, that means you have gone somewhere wrong. So that is important. You have to watch out for that. So again, x plus 3 is equal to 0, equated to 0, and again x plus 2 is equal to 0. This 3 came from here, this 3. So this is one equation and this is one equation. Now if they ask you to find the factors of this equation, you can just tell the factors are x plus 3 and x plus 2. If they ask you if they ask you to find the x, you need to solve it like this. It's very simple. X is equal to 0 minus 3. Then x will be minus 3. Here x plus 2 is equal to 0, x is equal to 0 minus 2, x is equal to minus 2. So quadratic equation here in this example, you will get two. In this example, you will get two answers for x. The first one is minus 3 and the second one is minus 2. So this is how you can solve the simple quadratic equation with the help of factorization method. Next, let us look at one more method, which is called completing square method. So for the same example again and the same form as well. So this is by factorization method. Here we will do the completing square method. completing square method. So the example we took is x square plus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Now there is a formula to remember while doing completing square method. That is minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So this is the formula. Now what is a, b or c? What are these all variables? So b here in this case, in this equation, we can think it as 1. So the same thing, here also we wrote 1, here also we wrote. So here a, first it's very easy when we label what is a, b or c before solving the equation, because it becomes so complicated if we don't know what is a or b or c. So a in this case is 1. So the formula is ax square. The equation is ax square plus bx plus c. So in this case x square is as it is. This a is 1, so that's what we have written there. And then x is as it is, and b here in this case is 5. Symbol is important as well. Plus 1 plus 5, the same thing. And c is, in this case c is 6. So plus 6. So we have to substitute the values and solve it. Let's do that. So minus 5 plus or minus under root b square, so 5 square minus 4 times 1 times 6, so AC upon 2a. A in this case is 1. So one important thing, this b square minus 4ac, this term b square minus 4ac, this is called as determinant. So before proceeding, first we have to check whether b square minus 4ac, what is b square minus 4ac? So if we first we need to simplify this one, because in BODMAS rule we know that we need to solve the square root first. So minus 5 plus or minus under root 5 square is 5 times 5 is 25 minus 4 times 1 is 4 times 6 upon 2 times 1, which is 2. So you will get minus 5 plus or minus under root 25 minus 4 times 6. So you have 6 times 4 is 24, 25 minus 6 times 4 is 24 upon 2. And we know that, so we'll continue from here, minus 5 plus or minus under root, this 25 minus 24, we know it is 1 upon 2, and we know square root of 1 is 1, so we can replace it by 1 again. So we got b square minus 4ac, or this term, as 1. Now the rule is, if you got the determinant, if you get determinant more than 1 or more than 0, which means positive, so if you get positive number in this determinant, then it's possible to solve. If you got negative number, that means less than 0, it's impossible to solve the equation. So now we got 1, and which is where we can tell that this equation is possible to solve. So we got determinant 1, minus 5 plus or minus 1 upon 2. Now let us take plus first. So we got plus or minus, so we can take plus first. Minus 5 plus 1 upon 2 is equal to, we have to solve this one. So minus 5 plus or minus upon 2, and there is one more answer, minus 5 minus 1 minus 5 minus 1 upon 2. So here we got minus 3 minus 2. Now if we solve, we will get the same answer. Let's see now what we will get. So minus 5 plus 1 is, minus times plus is minus, so 5 minus 1 is 4, 5 minus 1 is 4 upon 2, and minus here. So 2 times 1, 2 times 2, minus 2. So minus 2 is one answer. So we got minus 2 and minus 2, the same thing. Next, let's solve this one. So minus 5, minus 1, minus 1 minus is plus. So 5 plus 1 is 6 upon 2 and minus here. So 2 times 1 is 2 and 2 times 3 is 6. So we got minus 3. So look, we got the same answer. We got minus 2 minus 3 here and we got minus 2 minus 3 here. So both you can either use completing square method or this one. So here you need to remember this formula, minus b plus or minus under root b square minus 4ac upon 2a. So you can solve it by this process. Just simplify it and substitute. So first substitute a, b, c, substitute these values. So you will know by seeing this one. So x square in the place of a we have 1 here. So the same thing you can do for a, b, c and substitute them in place of the variables. So you will get, in this case, in this equation we got minus 2 minus 3 and we did by factorization method we got minus 2 minus 3. So you can use either ways to do it. This is one form of quadratic equation, the first form, ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. Next we will take up some more forms of quadratic equations. So the next form of quadratic equation we are going to take up is ax square plus bx is equal to 0. The first form of quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0. This is, here c is missing. Ax square plus bx is equal to 0. Just bx, no c here. Now let's take an example and let's see how can we solve it. So example is 2x square plus 5x is equal to 0. Let's solve this equation first. So for the first form of quadratic equation, which is ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, we have two methods to do. We can either use it factorization method or we can either use completing square method. In this case, we can't use either of the methods. We have to factorize it. So we have to take factors here. So you have to take factors. You will get, so x will be common in this, 2x square plus 5x is equal to 0. X is common, bracket 2x. So 2x times x is 2x square plus we have to find the factors basically. So x times 2x is 2x square plus x times 5 is 5x. So x is one factor, 2x plus 5 is one factor, is equal to 0. If they ask you to find factors, you can, these are the factors. If they ask you to find the value of x, you have to do it like this. So you can think x is equal to 0 and 2x plus 5 is equal to 0. So we got the answer, x is 0. One answer is 0. Let's solve this one now. So 2x is equal to 0 minus 5 and 0 minus 5 is minus 5. X is equal to minus 5 upon 2. So 0 is one answer and minus 5 upon 2 is one answer. So this is the second form of quadratic equation and this is how you have to solve it. Let's take up the third one. The third form of quadratic equation is ax square plus c is equal to 0. This is the next one. Here what happened? Here bx is missing, c is there but bx is missing. In this case c is missing. Let's take an example and let's see how can we solve it. So example is 2x square plus 5 is equal to 0. Now if we solve it by normal algebra, you have to do it like this. So 2x square is equal to 0. This plus 5 comes this side and you get minus 5. So 2x square is equal to minus 5. Minus 5 plus 0, which is minus 1. X square is minus 5 upon 2. And x will be, if x square is minus 5 upon 2, x will be square root of minus 5 upon 2. Now, here, in complex numbers, which is I, there, what is I? I is, here we got square root of some negative number. So, square root of negative number, any negative number, it can be fractions, it can be normal numbers, it can be integers or anything. So, square root of negative numbers is always impossible to solve. So, here you have minus 5 by 2, which is a negative number, and we got square root of minus 5 by 2, and so we can tell that this equation is impossible to solve. Why? Because when we use when we do by normal algebra, we got x at minus 5 by 2, square root of minus 5 by 2, and it is impossible to solve because we got square root of some negative number. If we got positive number, we can do it. How? Square root of 9 is 3, square root of 49 is 7, like that normally. But negative numbers means it is impossible to solve it. So in this form, when they give by this form, ax square plus c is equal to 0, where bx is missing, it is impossible to solve. So here we got plus ax square plus c is equal to 0, which is impossible to solve. Let's take one more form of quadratic equation next. So the fourth form of quadratic equation. This form is ax square minus c is equal to 0. Now what is the difference between this form and that form? Here we have minus, here we have plus. So there is a very big difference between these two equations. Let's take an example again. Example is 2x square minus 5 is equal to 0. So 2x square minus 5 is equal to 0. Now we can't solve it by factorization method. We can't solve it by completing square method as well, and we can't solve it by algebra, simple algebra as well. How can you solve this one? Now, if you observe it carefully, this is in the form of a square minus b square, a square minus b square, and a square minus b square is a plus b into a minus b. A square minus b square is a plus b into a minus b. So if you see, what is a and what is b here? Here we know b, here a is not 2x, it is square root of 2 and x. Why? Because this square is not for 2x, it is only for x, it's not whole square. If it's whole square, it will be 4x square. So here square is only for x, so we wrote x as it is, and square root of 2, because 2 square, or let's say square root of 2 is that's what we have written here. So x is here and square root of 2 whole square. So this is a, so a square minus b square. What is b here? B. Now 5 is not unlike all other numbers, 5 is not a perfect square number like 4 is square root of 4 is 2, but square root of 5 is, it's not perfect square number. There is a value for it, but it's not perfect square number. So what can we do it? Square root of 5. So a square minus b square is equal to a plus b into a minus b. Again, square root of 2x whole square minus square root of 5 whole square is equal to a plus b into a minus b. So a plus b into a minus b. So it's not minus, it's times a minus b. A minus b is square root of 2x minus square root of 5. So this is the equation. Oh, sorry, these are the factors of this equation. Square root of 2x plus square root of 5 and square root of 2x minus square root of 5. If they ask you factors, you can find it like that. If they ask you to find the value of x, you can solve it. You can just equate it to 0 and solve it. So this is fourth method. Now there is a difference between this one and that one. Here we have plus c and here we have minus c. If it's plus c, it's impossible to solve. If it's minus c, this is how you need to solve. And one more form, it's not actually a form, but that is also another way how they can ask the quadratic equations. So let's take an example like this. X square plus 5x is equal to, let's say, 2. So x square plus 5x is equal to 2. Now you can't, it's not the same as x square plus we have x square and we got a x like an x term is equal to 2. We did not get 0 here. So now what you need to do, the same thing again, x square plus 5x plus 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. Now you got it in the form of the simple quadratic equation, and you can solve it by either factorization method or completing square method. Or they can either give you, let's say they can give a constant here and they can give a number, so you can bring it this side and then add it to that constant. Or they can either give you x square plus a constant is equal to some x term, then you can bring that x term and you can equate it to 0. So this is how you can solve all the forms of quadratic equations, and this is how you can solve this ax square minus c is equal to 0, ax square plus c is equal to 0, and ax square plus bx is equal to 0, or ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0, which is the simple quadratic equation form. So these are all the different forms of quadratic equation, and these are the methods of how can you solve a quadratic equation.